Hi, folks, and good morning, and welcome back. And certainly getting into week two of flexible instruction days. Wanted to do another virtual department meeting, and of course, in an effort to limit the amount of time devoted to those meetings, I'll create a video again to precede the meeting, which I think is a good thing, just to address any things that might be of general concern that otherwise could take up additional time in a virtual meeting. So certainly to get into some of the things that I wanted to thank people for, extend congratulations. Certainly thank you to everyone for continued efforts with flexible instructional days. Certainly these times are pretty trying, and certainly as we try to innovate and develop lessons that are going to continue to be engaging for students in the days ahead, I think that it's important that we keep things in perspective and certainly to be flexible with what it is that we're doing and, continue to try new things. So I think that's really good. Also, thank you to Mr. Devine for his creation of the instructional video on the ins and outs of Google Forms. It's very informative, gives you, a real deep overview of the entire process. So certainly, if you're curious or you're looking to bone up on some of those skills that you already have with Google Forms, I think that Mr. Devine's video is a great place to go. So I provided the link, and I'll share the presentation this time. Also, on a personal note, congratulations to the DiPietro family. Yesterday, Evelyn DiPietro was born. Mr. DiPietro, 7th grade teacher at EMS. So congratulations to him and his family. Baby is doing well, so that's always good to hear. Logistics. Video is being blocked. Has this gotten any better? I've gotten a couple of complaints about this. Certainly I can recall in my previous district having times where there were videos or other items that I thought would be usable by students, but there was a filter in place, and after a quick email to IT, the block was lifted. But certainly, do we have our filters relaxed for students in a way that things will be viewable for them? Have people been reaching out to IT if items were blocked that you felt should not be? And I think, certainly with the nature of our subject area, sometimes items that are crucial and important to be shared with students could end up being inadvertently blocked by overly sensitive filters. Provided a couple other links here too, particularly pertains to high school AP tests. As certainly Aristea, Mr. McPhee, Mr. Connolly, these are now truncated and done from home. And, certainly if you look at the link there, if you have not already, it goes into some of those descriptions there. Questions already been posed to me based on the breadth of knowledge that will be covered on the AP exams. Should you kind of alter your focus for instruction? I would say absolutely. The content that might have ordinarily been covered before the AP exam certainly could be revisited after the exam is over. I know that, for example, AP US History is going through chronological period 7. Certainly there'll be enough time in the school year to revisit the Cold War after the exam is over. And again, College Board, like everyone else, is trying to make do with the situation as best it can, I think. So it gives a number of different options there in terms of submission of the tests. So certainly tests, if a student does not have the access to a keyboard, they could take a picture of their essay and send it in. So College Board certainly being very flexible there. Organizing Google Classroom folders and sharing calendar. I found a little video, and I tried to find the videos that were the shortest possible that I could find. This video here, I kind of went through it and compared it to my own Google Classroom interface. And the appearance of it was a little bit different, but the overall ideas presented and the logistics that are shown there are the same. So certainly, in terms of organizing Google Classroom into folders, Certainly a good strategy for creating organization on your Google Classrooms. And, I think as somebody who used Google Classroom for years, but quite honestly, it was not the main component of my instruction. I never had it, quite as organized as it could be. I think if you feel like you're in that boat and you want to organize more, certainly that might be a good video for you. Certainly sharing calendar with students, folks, particularly in the middle school. That's certainly an option there to help facilitate and foster communication. So that's also included in that particular video. Also found one on originality reports from Google itself. The guys that present it, I think they were having too much fun with it. Though then again, I guess maybe they just enjoyed the idea of catching a student for plagiarism. But one of the things I like with the originality reports is that students can actually submit it themselves to see what it would look like, because I think, oftentimes students inadvertently, they accidentally plagiarize without the intent. And I think it's good in terms of being able to actually show them where they might be going wrong. So I felt like that was pretty good there. Resources as we continue, and certainly the questions have come up with regard to plagiarism, the types of questions that are being asked. I think that Google Forms does do a lot. Mr. Devine addresses in his video, could a student have like another a device at their side? Yeah. Could they have a text put out? Sure. But I think it gets down to also the types of questions that are created and, where we can really pushing students to that higher level and, certainly avoiding those quote unquote Googleable questions. That's not really a word, but, English is a living language, so we can make it one. Also was shared with me a set of articles from the New York Times about surviving during these difficult times. I thought it was certainly pretty interesting in terms of providing some different perspective, not necessarily educational related, but I think that's okay. Also wanted to share this, and I've included this in a lot of the curriculum guides, but it is a online book that's developed with Stanford University Press that is updated on a pretty consistent basis. It also includes a whole primary source database. So I've included that link on some of our curriculum guides as well, but just to highlight it, I think is a good thing. And I think certainly if you look at where people are in the curriculum, obviously at the high school, grades 11, 10, and 9, all in U.S. history. We, of course, have the bubble where 9th and 10th graders are all doing US 1 this year. Juniors doing US 2. 8th grade, you're getting into the US history component, or you've been in the US history component of your curriculum for a while. And 6th grade is actually working with primary sources, which come from American history at the moment. So I think, certainly this resource could be quite useful. It has a whole set of different primary sources in what it calls a primary source reader. So certainly if you go to the link, they have them broken up by units. So let's just say you wanted to take some primary sources out of the Civil War or the Civil War era. It has a whole listing of different items here that are linked. So, if you, for example, you wanted to click on this one, General Benjamin F. Butler reacts to self-emancipation. It has a little blurb beforehand, but also includes the primary source. You could say that it's about a long paragraph right there. So certainly something that could be of use to you. And it also does include a traditional type of textbook. So certainly if you were to go into the Civil War chapter, I think that, you could certainly, I went to the wrong place, didn't I? So certainly I think you could find a good number of resources here. So anyhow, poke around at that, see what you could find. Hopefully it could be of some use to you, and I think it's certainly something that is user-friendly for students. All right, folks, and I went a little bit long on this because I'm hitting almost the 10-minute mark. So thank you, and we'll see you at the meeting at 9:30 this morning. Thank you.